Hi, and welcome to your counseling session. I am so proud of you for making it in today because some people honestly don't even get this far. So, thank you for being courageous and just being here today. Like I said, I'm proud of you. Keep it up. As you know, our counseling sessions are very much Christ based. Okay, so what this means is instead of using a self-help book that you would get out in the world, we are going to use the Bible. Remind me, because I have my notes here, what are we working on today? Okay, yep. All right, and I have already looked into the Bible here and I've written down the verses that we're going to look at for that. Okay. Yes, so I did find one in particular that we're going to look at, but I do think the second thing you want to work on, which we'll get to, 1,000%, you can find everything in the Bible. But this one is I'm going to simplify it for you too, because part of therapy and counseling in the world is overcomplicating things, right? But when we do things for God and through God, we like to just simplify it. And it's like, okay, we're to do this and this, right? So that's what we're going to work on today. So the first thing that we need to learn really when it comes to being content and, keeping in check our anxieties and fears and worries and the idea that we can do better than God and we will figure it out instead of just giving it to God, right? I mean, we all do it. And having acceptance along with accountability. So accepting that there are some things we just have no control over, and then taking accountability would be like, and I did this and I'm sorry, the end, right? So we're going to, I think we're gonna start with, let me see here. I have some examples, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach it because I don't want to confuse you, but I also want to make sure that I'm doing it in the correct way. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to kind of read this to myself, and then I'm going to figure out if we want to start with learning contentment or learning accountability. Okay. How to put it together. I need to accept it. The choices I make when it comes to accountability. It looks like I need to do this, and then I will do that. Okay. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and start with acceptance and accountability, and then we will move to contentment, and then I will show you some examples. So when it comes to acceptance, kind of what I said is just accepting the fact that sometimes there's nothing that we can do and we need to just, okay, it is what it is, right? And the part of that goes along with accountability is sometimes we like to control things and we make mistakes along the way. And when we make those mistakes, we tend to have a lot of excuses, right? So it looks kind of like this. You're not really accepting something for what it is. You go and you make a decision without God, and you have consequences for those decisions, right? And then you don't take accountability. Instead, you blame, or you basically just say, well, I did it because of this. When all you really need to do is say, okay, I'm accepting that I don't have control over everything, and I did this and I was wrong. I'm sorry. So taking accountability really is just about being forward and being so real with yourself and anybody that you may have hurt or misled, okay? Whatever it may be. It's about just taking that step and saying, I am sorry. The end. That's all you need to say is, I messed up, I was wrong, I'm sorry. And then you can add, here's what I'm going to do next time, or here's what I'm going to do moving forward. Because you never want to make a promise that you can't keep either. So you never want to say, oh, I'll never do it again, because you might. So you just say, I'll work on that moving forward. Here's what I'm going to do moving forward. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So let's go ahead and go to Hebrews, and we're going to read. I just have one scripture because that basically, in a nutshell, just that's it. But we always want to bring God into everything that we're doing. And if you're not doing that, then that might be some problem there. I mean, I feel like you're always going to have issues if you don't have God, right? So, Hebrews 10:24 through 25. See where I want to start. I'm going to start at 22. Let us draw near to God with a sincere heart and with the full assurance that faith brings, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience and having our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. If we deliberately keep on sinning after we have received the knowledge of the truth, no sacrifice for sins is left, but only a fearful expectation of judgment and of raging fire that will consume the enemies of God. Anyone who rejected the law of Moses died without mercy on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Just make sure that we're doing everything through God and through good deeds. And if you mess up, just own up to it, okay? And again, do it all through faithfulness and through God. Now, moving into being content. So this does go together, believe it or not. So accepting that we can't change a circumstance, and then taking accountability for like why maybe we got in that circumstance in the first place, because sometimes we will make choices and then get mad at other people or get mad at God and then go, God, why aren't you saving me? And it's like, well, you still have consequences to your actions. That's a thing. And so sometimes we have to accept consequences to our actions. And then in that comes being content. So content means just really being okay with where you are in the moment, not necessarily giving up. That doesn't mean that you just are like, okay, this is where I am in life. This is it. I'm done. It's more of, I'm going to be grateful and I'm going to show gratitude at every given moment of my life. So you've got a lot going on right now, right? So you're in a particular situation that is quite unique, right? You bought a house with somebody and you have to live with them. You guys aren't together anymore. You have to live together, right? And you're saving to move out, but it's been challenging because the economy is not what it was years ago, right? So it's really hard to save because you're working how many jobs? Like 3 jobs, and you're paycheck to paycheck basically, and you're kind of struggling, and you feel sometimes that there's no hope, right? So in those moments, we still have to go, well, it was me, or like this, saying this to you, like I'm you. I decided to do this, and now this is what it has brought me. So then we want to take a step back and show gratitude. God is still with us. We still have food to eat. We still have a roof over our head. And though the 2 of you aren't together, you guys get along well from which is amazing. That's great. So you guys are basically just friends. You're roommates at this point, right? There's nothing wrong with that. No, it's not. So I'll dive into that super quick. It's not a sin to live and have a roommate that's the opposite sex. It is a sin when it becomes sexually immoral. So if you guys are doing stuff together that you shouldn't, then that's when it becomes a sin. Okay. Right. So, but no, if you guys are just roommates at this point, you guys don't even share a bedroom, no, you're fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. And it's understandable. Now, I will say a lot of people would be like, oh, God shows mercy. A sin is a sin. So you can't, sleep with somebody and then say, oh, God understands my situation, or, oh, we think we're married. No. So there's a lot of there's a lot that you have to understand when it comes to God and his rules. And if you think about it, the Bible is merely just a book of stories and boundaries, if you respect God, if you love God, you'll look at his word and go, okay, I respect God so much, I'm going to respect like his boundaries that he has for those that follow him. It's like having a relationship with God, a very healthy one. Mind you. And you can set boundaries with anybody, with family members, with friends, yeah, and significant others. So anyways, back to like being content. So the situation you're in, it's rough, right? It's rough, of course, yeah. But we still want to be grateful and understand that God is with us, right? God's with you, no matter what, like no matter where you're at, God's with you, and to give it to him. You can't be over here going, okay, I accept you, God, and I love you, and I'm going to let you handle it while I'm over here trying to handle it. Can't be doing that. That means you're not content. So being content truly means giving it to God. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean just go sit around and do nothing. So a great example I'm going to use you again is you need to move out of your house, right? How are you going to do that? Right, you probably need to get a job. You have 3 of them, right? And you probably need to save money. Now, if you were to say, hey, God, I need a job, right, and just do nothing, do you think you're going to get that job? No, correct, right? So what's the rule of thumb here? It's, okay, God, I'm going to apply for all of these jobs because I need to get a job. I need to take the steps to move out of here because I want to follow you, live for you, and I feel it necessary, to move out. And you can even ask God, if that's not what you want, let me know, etc. But once you get to the point where you know it's the right thing to do, say, okay, God, I need to get this job or a job. You apply for all the jobs and you say, okay, God, you put me where you need me, where you want me, where I'm supposed to be. That's with everything, right? So you apply for the jobs and then you just wait and you see. And you just keep applying and you wait and see. Same with relationships. So it'll be a while, right, before you you're like ready, and that's okay. That's okay. Take your time. I'm learning that we don't need to rush anything, right? Okay, so when you're ready, it's, hey, God, send me a manly husband, just example, or send me a godly husband. Sorry, and I can't say that and then go sit on the couch and wait for it to fall from the sky. I don't think that's possible. I mean, with God, anything is possible, I guess, but it's putting yourself out there, making it known that like you are seeking a godly man, you are ready to be a wife, and you're asking God for guidance, you're asking God to put somebody in your path. Okay, so that's basically what I mean by being content. So now let's go ahead and look and see what God says about it exactly. Okay, I'm excited. You're gonna learn so much, and I truly hope it helps you. So we're going to go to Hebrews 13:5. And it says, keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. So the other part of being content is, and I said this earlier, it's not about, oh, I'll be content when I have enough money to move out. No, it's about being content right now. Oh, I'll be content when I have enough food to eat, and I am starving, so I'm not going to be content. Even when you're hungry, you have to be content. Because if you're not, then you're just going to be miserable all the time. But God is wanting to bless you. So we have to follow this in order to let that happen, right? Let's be content with everything that we do. Let's go ahead and go to Philippians. I went too far. It's like so short. Easy to miss. Okay. Philippians 4:10 through 13. I rejoiced greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Now that was so well said, like I might not even need to read anything else, right? Let's go ahead and go to Luke. Okay, Luke 12:15. Sorry. Okay. Then he said to them, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. So another thing to keep in mind when you pass on, none of your stuff is going with you. None of your money is going with you. It's okay to want to be successful. Okay, I'm not saying like, oh, you need to be poor. What I'm saying is you need to be in the right heart, in the right mind with God. Okay? So am I saying like, oh, if I end up making it on YouTube, that it's a sin? No, making money is not a sin. Greed is a sin. So doing it specifically for money is a sin. Doing it for yourself is a sin. Doing it for anybody else aside from God or anything else aside from God is a sin. So another example, when you go to your daily job, right? Like, are you doing that job for you, for the money, for your boss, or for God? If you're doing it for anything other than God, you're not doing it in the right head space or in the mindset or in the right heart. You want to do everything through God. I know it sounds extreme, but trust me, if you do this, you will have such a joyful, I was going to say happy life, but honestly, it's joyful. You're going to have a joyful life. So, honestly, I think like really that right there pretty much covers it. So I just ask that you continue to understand that your situation might not be the best, but how did we get there? Yeah, you made a choice and you thought it was the right choice at the time. That's fine. Again, we don't want to use excuses. We want to say, we made a choice. Here are the consequences of those choices. And here's now what we are going to do about it. We're going to put our life in God's hands. And we're going to say, God, save me from this. Here's what I'm going to do, God. I'm going to apply for jobs. I'm going to work on moving out. I need your guidance. I need you to show me which job to go to. I need you to show me, which should I rent, should I own, and help me to be able to do that. A lot of people will turn away from God and they'll say, oh, I'm so alone. And they'll be like, oh, I've never been this lonely. We're all guilty of it. And God's there just reaching out his hand. And we have to remember to reach back and say, okay, you're here. thank you, you know? So thank you so much for coming to your counseling session today. Do you have any questions for me at all? Okay, good. So your homework then is going to be every day I want you to write down, let's do five things that you're grateful for. And I want you to write down how you're going to work on being content every single day. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and pray and I will let you go. Okay. God, thank you so much for this new day. And thank you so much for bringing this person before me. I pray that you really guide their heart and their soul. You show them how you want them to live, and you show them the path that you want them on. And you really show them your mercy and your grace, Lord. And you show them just how amazing you truly are. And we all ask that you continue to help us work on accountability and being content. And I know through that there will be tests and challenges that will make us stronger, because you are not all about enabling, you are about love. And love is teaching us, not just giving it to us. So show us your way, Lord. Teach us and guide us. In your precious name we pray. Amen. All right, I will see you next week.